So I did some really rough animation, probably took like 20 minutes of him jumping. And he does a single jump, but I kind of thought it would be funny if he could just keep jumping like a cycle. So I'm going to have my start point right there. That's the loop start. And then the end of the loop is right here. Now I hit play and he's on a continuous jump, like bounce. So those are my keyframes and probably some breakdowns. And you can see these gaps right here. It's on 2s, except for this one frame is on a 3. There are kind of some in-betweens I have yet to do, but we'll fill those in a little bit. So let's turn on my onion skin tool. Here it is. So you see my previous drawing and my next drawing. All my rough animation, what's really cool, even though I'm on this one layer, let's just call it bounce. Even though I'm on my one bounce layer, there's 4 different layers within there. So we have the underline, the color layer, the line work, and the overlay. And right now, since I'm doing the rough animation, I want to be on my underlay layer. And I just start going in and in-betweening my stuff. And even though it's rough, I don't know, I try and work semi-clean, even though it may not look like that. This was done in, like I said, pretty quick for the presentation. So then, after I do that, I go into my line work, and I'll start working on the line. For our game, we use kind of a thicker stroke for the outside line of the character, as you saw over here, how he has a thicker stroke. And then the inside lines are all really thin. And that's all hand drawn. It's not like a stroke is a certain amount of pixels. We kind of just eyeball it to give it that kind of random effect. At first, we wanted a really textury effect, but it was jittering too much. So we stuck with just like a thicker stroke. So right now, let's go in and kind of tie down some of our drawings as best as possible. So when I go tie down my drawings, it's really all about taking a look at the spacing as you would on paper. And I'm not even worrying about the thicker line right now in the beginning. I'm more just trying to get my solid drawing. So this is obviously a deformed kind of frame with a lot of squash to him. This is probably what takes the longest when we're working at Idle Games is just the cleanup and the tying down process. The rough animation's probably the most fun. Just throw in your thoughts down, really getting in there. And so then doing this cleanup, making sure all your lines are somewhat the same, even though we kind of like that little bit of randomness, we still don't want it to jitter too much. So we'll go up and start thickening up all these lines. It's got a little spout right there. So there's one frame that's pretty well cleaned up. And we would just go and clean up everything. So it would have that same thickness from the little guy. So that was it with this guy. Just kind of showing you guys what our pipeline is from rough animation to tying it down, to clean up, and then to exporting them out and bringing them back in if we need to.